Okay, recording in progress.
Good morning. So sorry I overslept.
Good morning, no problem.
Oh, to all our listeners, happy Chinese New Year.
Happy New Year's.
Yeah, I can't believe it's another year.
I
Gosh,
know, Year of the
how time
Horse.
flies. Speaking of time flying, let's do a little bit of recap and then we'll dive straight into it.
Yeah, sweet.
So, I think we talked about anime in general. We dived into each other's assignments. And
Yes.
thinking back, I realized that the reason why I recommended the titles that I did, which is Kamagura Orange Road, and other stuff that I mentioned in the previous episodes, is because I just wanted something that is a little bit from the past so that will do justice to discussing anime because
Mm-hmm.
I think the whole scope and breadth of anime is so wide that it seems unjust or unfair to talk about anime without paying homage to some of the stuff that came before. And I really think that there's a lot of treasures to be found in all eras of anime. And so I think we did a pretty decent job in that we did find some treasures from the past and we also highlighted some stuff from the present. And so I hope that whoever gets to listen to this podcast would be able to understand anime a little bit more. And before we end the show today, I just want to spend a little time also later to wrap up by talking about why anime matters, right? Because to do anything in the world, it has to have meaning and, you know, what's the importance of anime? So it's fun, yes, but then, I'm sure there are reasons why we love it beyond the fun. So, okay, with that, that's the recap. And so, Jasmine, take it away. Tell us what insights have you gained from diving deeper into the assignment that I gave you?
So, so I was able to chip a little bit more at the anime series Orange Road, and then I also watched the movie that you recommended. I think it's I want to go back to that day.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, I don't know where to start. So first of all, I think the cinematography was, like amazing. Like it's hand drawn. You can tell the color is probably like, hand painted, like watercolor. The music
Beautiful,
is
right?
great. It was a beautiful anime. Now, regarding the plot, okay, like I think I liked it because it was scary. Like from a woman's perspective, it is like a horror story, but then it's
Wow.
shot so accurately that like if I've ever had a kid, especially a daughter, like I would want my daughter to watch this to learn about dating dynamics.
Oh, tremendous. Really? You gained all of that from watching this. Okay.
Like I think, and I don't think this is limited to like men per se, but like at least in my personal experience, I do think there are a lot of people that will like settle for like the easier girl or guy, and then when a better girl or guy comes, or when their true love comes along, they'll kind of like cheat and then like throw
Right. A
away
lot of
like
us would
whoever they're
fall into
dating.
that trap. That's
Yeah,
true.
so I think it's also an important lesson to be true to yourself, because the ending of the movie, it wasn't that happy. And I think the lesson to be taken from that is that Kyosuke, like he wasn't really honest to himself. Like he was trying
Hmm.
to go for the easier option, and that's why he kind of ruined his friendship with Hikaru and ruined Hikaru's
Hmm.
friendship with Madoka. So I like the movie in the sense that it was really realistic,
Yeah,
and
it's
I
very
like
grounded,
it's
right?
very grounded. And then the opening and ending, I believe, was shot in black and white to kind of give it to, like, they made it really clear to the people watching that this is not a happy story. Like, this is not a happy
No.
love story. And that's what I really appreciated about
And
it.
such a shift too, right, from the regular TV series that they put out.
I have to say, like, even the regular TV series, like, starting from like episode 5 onwards, like it started getting a little bit dark. But I think it's because I'm a woman, so like I can see how, like there's two types of rom-coms, right? Like one that kind of appeals to men and one that appeals to
Mhm.
women. Like I
Right.
can see how this really appeals to men, but I think the movie, it kind of grounds a whole series. It's like taking the viewer back and saying like hey, like when you're living in reality, like you cannot lie to yourself. Like you need to be very honest to yourself, or else people, like the people you care about, is gonna get hurt.
Oh
So
yeah.
I think it's like I like the mature touch of it. I like it starts out like, very almost kind of like fantasy like, even the color, like the tone, like the
Mhm.
storytelling. It was very kind of light, and it had like a fantastical nature to it. But then once you get to the movie, the superpower wasn't even part of the story at all. It was just
Right.
about kind of the realities of interpersonal relationships, like the
Hmm.
consequences of lying. So I think I really, really liked how the movie came after the series. And yeah, it just added a really mature touch that I don't think you find in modern anime. So I really liked
Yes,
it overall.
you seem excited actually, and that's good because coming from you, you've seen so many animes and you really deep dive into a lot of the stuff that you watch. And so coming from you, when you gain all these insights, yeah, I think there's really a lot that Orange Road offers to the viewer. Because there's like two, three ways to watch it, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Like you could just watch it as a casual viewing, right?
Yeah.
Just like, oh well, it's an anime. I'll put it in the background while I do my stuff, and yeah, seems like a nice vibe. It's got a nice vibe going on. Something from the '90s, hand drawn. That's nice. Very casual viewing. And then there's the second way to watch it, which is to like, oh yeah, from a typical shonen kind of viewpoint, which is like, oh, this guy's got superpowers, and he's using superpowers to get into all kinds of shenanigans in his dating life, right? That's
Hmm.
kind of like a superficial way to do it. And then you dive deeper into it, especially if you explore the entire universe of this series, including the movies. You realize that, like you said, it's a blueprint, or like it tells you quite accurately, which kind of impressed me, about real life dating, what it's like
Yeah.
out there to put yourself out there, fall in love, like someone, get rejected. And I think all three main characters were pretty well developed. Was what I appreciated about the series. And you can find yourself in all three characters. Who among us hasn't been busted, or rejected at one point in our lives, right? The unrequited love, right? And who among us hasn't fallen head over heels over somebody who is mysterious and beautiful, right? And who among us, hasn't really fallen in love with a guy but doesn't want to hurt their best friend, So like all those real world dating dynamics are in there.
And one more thing is I feel like it's a deep dive on the psychology of why people cheat.
Yeah, tell us
Am
about
I the
that.
only
Yeah.
one that got it? Because basically, like, through the series and in the movie, Kyosuke is basically a huge cheater. And
What a
like
dick.
to put it like very simply, like I think he kind of like, if you want to learn about the psychology of people who cheat, I actually think this is the perfect anime to do so. But I think it's like, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be voting, like kind of trying to like, like vote for this guy. Like I don't know if he's made to necessarily be a likable character, but I
Oh,
think,
he's definitely flawed, right? He's definitely flawed.
but I think it begs a question of like do people, and I think like I met a lot of men like this in real life. Like, at the gym, there's this guy that's kind of like hitting up my friend and like telling her that she's special, but then like he's like hitting on every other girl in the gym. So I feel like
Uh,
men like this definitely exist in real life. And then for some reason, I attract a lot of these kind of men. But when people cheat, I think
I'm
what
so
a lot
sorry to
of
hear
Oh, no, no,
that.
no. But like I think this applied to both men and women, right? So like,
Yeah,
Kyosuke
for
is a
sure.
man, but he could easily be a woman. But I think, when people get cheated on, their first thought is like, oh, did I do something wrong? Or as Hikaru, her last line haunts me because she was like grabbing to him. She's like, I can't let go. I can't let go. Like,
Hmm.
why am I not enough? And then she kind of keeps
Right.
repeating that line until the scenes turn black and white.
That's so heartbreaking, isn't
It's,
it?
but I think it's like, but I think that's what people feel when they get cheated on. And I think this anime kind of illustrates beautifully that there was nothing she could have done, because if someone wants to cheat, like, they would cheat,
Exactly.
kind
Yes.
of thing. And then I think they kind of shot Hikaru in a better light. Like, I think in the TV series, they made her kind of like clingy and annoying and like almost like very
Really
brattish,
childish.
very
Yeah.
childish. But I think in the movie, they kind of humanized her. They really show that it's not her fault. Like, she's a girl that just really wants to be loved.
Hmm.
And like, you can see through the movie like how her self-esteem and how her sense of identity is being chipped away.
Right.
So
Right.
I
Right.
really liked her depiction in the movie, like a lot better than the series, I
Yeah, I
think.
think it's so groundbreaking. I think the movie really it took its time to really flesh out these characters. Because if you watch the TV series alone, you would think that it's not a bad show, but
Yeah.
the cherry on top really was the movie. It's sort of like elevated the whole series to a different level, I think. So it was really important to see that movie.
And it's a really mature movie too. Like, I actually think like even for the people that don't want to watch the whole series, I think they should watch the first 5 episodes just to understand the context and then
Right.
watch the movie, because that's how good the movie is. Like, whatever people take from it, I think it's definitely a movie that that people should watch because it's really mature. I actually think it's one of the few anime movies that I would say like I think I would enjoy more as an adult. And just you
Exactly.
don't find movies like that in anime nowadays anymore.
Exactly.
Like, not
Yeah. I
really.
mean, it stands up even in 2026. It stands up.
Oh yeah, it can be a standalone too. Like, I feel like even if I didn't watch this series and if I just watched that, I would have been like, wow, this is a very well shot movie. This is a really
Yeah.
well made, like the dialogue, like even the music, the retro kind of vibe it has, like the
Yeah. Yeah.
pacing. It was very, I think, in a lot of ways, it's better than a lot of stuff that you will find that's even made nowadays with bigger budgets and better technology.
Yeah, to your point about the pacing, I think coming from an older generation, well, that's one of the things that I appreciated about it. I realized that a lot of the stuff, because you remember some of the earlier episodes, you were asking me like, "Oh, Vic, why do you like certain animes, and why don't you like certain animes?" And I
Mm,
couldn't really answer you properly. And then I thought about that question, and I realized that I liked a lot of animes because of the pacing, and I
mm,
like it a little slow because I want my characters to have time to sort of like seem relevant to me, or like they have to make me care about them,
yeah,
And one of my critiques about the newer stuff, and they're good. Don't worry. I mean, not that I'm shitting on the newer stuff. They're good too. It's just that I think it's a reflection of how, as a society, our attention span has sort of dwindled, and
yeah,
so animators have to sort of keep up with modern audiences. So they kind of the editing is a bit more abrupt. It's very jarring at times, and not to the point where you can't keep up. But
yeah,
I appreciate the older stuff that it really takes its time. And if a movie's well made, well drawn, well shot, I don't mind. I don't mind the slow pacing of the thing because I'm actually enjoying it frame by frame. There are a lot of moments in the movie in Orange Road, for example, where it would literally just hold the scene for like a couple of seconds. I don't know if you noticed that.
oh yeah, like
Right?
the phone scene.
Yeah, it would just hold it for like
Yeah,
really like the moments of silence was just like unthinkable in today's anime. Like, what? Why are you wasting all those
yeah.
seconds?
And another thing that I think the movie nails is the show don't tell. Like,
Hmm.
even though technically Kyosuke is a narrator, but there's not a lot of narrating on his part. Like, for example, when Hikaru saw the picture on his picture on Madoka's desktop or something, like modern anime will have her stop and then have internal dialogue of like, why is his picture on her
Yeah,
wardrobe? But then
yeah,
Orange Road, it was like a split second, like you see her smile freeze, and then it just moves on. And I think it's so beautifully done. Like modern anime just doesn't have that sense of show don't tell anymore.
Right,
And
right,
even
right.
for both Hikaru and Madoka, you don't really necessarily hear their internal dialogue. A lot of their grief, a lot of their shock, it's just told through, the cinematography. It's just their expression, like the
Right.
tone of their voice. Like when she was trying to call him and then she put the phone down and she started crying. Like you can kind of know what she's thinking on the inside without narrating, being like, oh, how could he
You
have
know
done
what?
that? He's
You
such a
know what it's
horrible
like,
man.
Jasmine. My opinion on that is that the older shows respects the intelligence of its viewers. Like it
Yes.
doesn't have to narrate everything.
Yeah.
It will show you, and it knows that you as the viewer can pick up on what's going on, even without having to explicitly tell you what's going on.
Yeah. And
Right? So that's nice, right?
And on top of that, I think another thing I liked about the show was that, you know, the ending is left more ambiguous. I feel
I
like
love
modern
that.
shows,
Yeah, I love
they they
that.
make it to like it's either a really happy ending, everybody's happy, or it's really like a overly done, like gruesome or bad ending. Whereas this show, it just kind of leaves everything a little bit more ambiguous. And I think that's real life, right? Like there is
Yeah,
kind of no good ending or bad ending. Like you lose friends, you meet new people, you date new people, you hurt
yeah, and
people.
then life
And
goes on. Yeah,
yeah, but I do like how they ended the movie in black and white.
that was a nice
I
touch.
think that was a really, really nice touch because I can see some people, if they didn't do that, I can see some people being like, yeah, he got his dream girl and like it's a happy ending that way. But I think the black and white kind of shows a different story of like, okay, he gets to date the girl that he wants, but at what cost?
I think it's really bittersweet, and that's life, isn't it? In a nutshell.
I actually think it's a warning. I actually thought the movie, it was like kind of watching like a horror film for me, but like in a good way, in a very good way. Like, but I think it ended that way because it's telling people to kind of be careful what they wish for, or like be careful, be careful. I think be more careful.
You obviously identify more with the Hikaru character.
I don't think I identify with the Hikaru. I actually think I identify more with the Madoka because for some reason, and I think it might be because of my face, I meet a lot of men that pursue me even though they have a girlfriend or they're married.
Oh, okay, okay.
But then so when you're kind of in that position, that's why I feel like it's kind of a male fantasy because in real life, like a lot of men will pursue me, but they won't tell me they have a girlfriend.
You're right. Okay.
So the confrontation between Hikaru and Madoka, it wasn't that bad. Like, she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then she just kind of walks away and keep
Yeah.
pursuing the guy.
Yeah.
And I think that's a part that's a little bit unrealistic because in real life, like these women will come and crucify you. Like they will write you like a 5-page dissertation on why you are the worst human being on earth,
Why you're a douchebag,
and
right?
why
For
you're a
doing what you
douchebag, why you're like a slut, why you're dirty. So I feel like that's the only part that's a little bit unrealistic of like those girls
Hey
would have
man, it
like
is a shonen show
killed
after
each
all,
other. But I think the realistic part is how like Hikaru pursues a guy like unrelentlessly and the
Yeah,
two girls
yeah.
are not friends anymore. I feel like that part's realistic. But like in real life, like when you are the Madoka character, like it's really, really unsettling. And like
When I watched that part though, Jasmine, it really broke my heart. Probably because of my own life experiences. Like I lament not so much for the fact that he had to choose one girl over another. I lament the fact
right,
that the three of them used to get along so well. I mean, the entire first half of the series was about their dynamics. And it's lighthearted and it's fun, and I weep for the loss of friendship. And I think that's one thing that hits me is that oftentimes in life you have to choose one thing over another, and the consequences of that is you lose something valuable. But it almost seems like it can't be helped. I feel sad that the three of them are not hang out anymore, and that they used to have all kinds of fun things happen. They go to the beach, they go to the cafe, right? I mean, and it's cute, so it's kind of like a mourning the loss of innocence. And on
Do
that point, by the way,
uh-huh.
I realized that, again, back to your question in the earlier episodes about why I like certain shows the way I do, I realized that the common theme going through all this stuff, the older stuff that I like, is it came from, at least in my opinion, back in the days when things just seemed a little brighter, a little lighter, bit more lighthearted.
Mhm.
And I like that because I think that there's enough heaviness in day to day stuff that it's a form of escapism for me.
Yeah.
For me to look at characters who are silly and fun, and they fall in love, or they go on adventures, and it's a much simpler reason for me why I like certain shows. So it might be a bit shallow, but I don't know. I just feel like a lot of the newer shows nowadays are dark and gritty, right? And explores themes of like poverty, for example, with
Yeah.
Chainsaw Man. But I think I have enough of that in real life, and for something that I want to watch, I just want to be reminded of the happier things in life, and a lot of the stuff back from when I was growing up offered that. A lot of the newer stuff that offers that kind of escape,
Mhm.
I can't really dive into it because it seems too two dimensional. Whereas the
Yeah.
stuff from the earlier years, they seem more fleshed out. So, yeah, I think that's one reason why I like the stuff that I do. Yeah.
Yeah, and like me too, because like even like the story, like of itself, like yeah, you don't really find it in modern anime nowadays. Like, and I think one reason that might be that you find like characters more two-dimensional is maybe because they don't have any nuance.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I mean, like the homework you assigned me. So I started watching Chainsaw Man, and I even
Yeah.
started watching Jujutsu Kaisen, right? Just to sort of like have a bit of both, so that I
Yeah.
can talk to you about it. And there are similarities too. And well, for one thing, they're produced by the same studio, right? Studio
Yeah.
Mappa, right? And I already started watching One Punch Man before that, so
Yeah.
and all these modern shonen animes, they're good, and I recognize themes or tropes that have been existing in shonen ever since the beginning. And when
Yeah.
I saw those are quite comforting because, like, oh, I recognize that. Oh, okay. For example, the whole you see somebody you love or care about get hurt by the villain, and suddenly you power up. Come on,
Yeah.
that's a typical shonen trope, right?
Yeah.
So those things I recognize, and then there were some innovative new stuff as well. And definitely, I appreciate those. It was like, oh, I haven't seen this done before. But when I finished watching a couple of episodes, I re-examined my feelings, and I realized the reason why I couldn't invest my time or myself into it that much is because some of the character motivations didn't seem like worthy to me. I don't know. Um, okay. I understand. I kind of understand why you would do what you did because of what happened, but it didn't seem like enough reason. Like I would think in the back of my mind, like, oh, that could easily be resolved by just talking to someone. What
Yeah.
I mean? I can't help but think that. It's like it seems a little immature, and like, bro, you realize that you could just you walk up to the person, spend like a 5-minute conversation, and that whole thing would have been resolved, right?
Yeah, I think the reason why I think with especially with Chainsaw Man and Jujutsu Kaisen, and my friends don't share this opinion with me, but I think they work off the works of, do you know Nietzsche?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole philosophy of nihilism. So,
Yeah.
and then I think it's a really kind of like, especially Chainsaw Man, I feel like it's kind of, it's more, I find it more of a philosophical work than something that's kind of taken literally. Like it's absurd. Like it's extremely
It
absurd.
is.
Like
It is.
the character
Yes.
motivations, like, on the surface don't make any sense at all. But then it's kind of embracing the philosophy of like, especially the main character, right? Because his whole thing is, I just want to eat bread on
Yeah.
butter every single day. And
Right,
then you're
right.
like, you can just go into the convenience store and buy that. Like, you don't necessarily have to fight demons and monsters to eat
Yeah.
bread and butter every day. So, like, yeah, it's an absolutely absurd kind of way of going about something that's very menial. And I think that's reflected in modern day, like, it's how young people nowadays feel. It's like, they feel like when they go to work, they have to face their boss. It's a 9 to 5, and they can never get a house. They can never live a good life. It's like they're working all these stuff and like hustling, and all they're left with is kind of crumbs. So I feel like,
Oh, that's
so
a
I feel like
great
it's something,
explanation. Yes.
yeah. So I feel like this anime, it's made for the younger generation in the sense that, like, I think a lot of people feel like they are dingy because they are stuck in this horrible workplace. They're forced to fight
Mhm.
their inner demons, outer demons, and at the end of the day, all they want to do is like sleep and eat toast and do nothing for the whole day.
Yeah, I
It's a
remember.
very nihilist like
Remember
view of
the
the
other
world.
anime a couple of years ago about is it Zom 100? I forgot, but remember that when he woke up and the whole world turned into zombies, he was actually happy because he didn't have to go to work anymore. So I think a lot of the modern stuff is like, it definitely panders to modern audiences and how they feel about facing like a crushing workplace environment, their bosses, and how they feel empty at the end of the day, even though they work so hard. So a lot of the stuff seems over the top and silly, but I think it's trying to capture that mood that a lot of the younger people feel nowadays in real life. You're right. I never thought about it that way.
But one thing I will agree with is like, I don't think it's necessarily a feel good anime. Like, I can see a lot of people watching the TV show Orange Road and being like, "Oh, that's a nice pick me up." Like, it was silly, but it's meaningful and it's fun. Whereas I feel like a lot of modern shonen anime don't have that. Like, if anything, it kind of leaves you feeling a bit hopeless, maybe.
But at least it validates your feelings, and I think that's the main point.
I think like, even like One Punch Man, like Chainsaw Man, like Jujutsu, it's all kind of pandering to like the 20-year-olds. And like,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like even the younger people I talk to, some of them kind of talk like Denji, like they're just lifeless. Like
Yeah,
they're just
it
like,
just seems like they don't care about anything because life has dealt them blows that made them feel like there's nothing to care about.
and I don't know if that's good though, it kind of
No, no,
it
it's
does
definitely
worry
not a
me.
good thing.
It definitely worries me a little bit. The fact that they like identify so strongly to these characters, I'm like, but you're 20, like, oh geez, like life is supposed to be like just starting for you, and here you are already like giving up hope, giving up like trying to make anything out of your life. Like, life has no meaning. Like, I just want to eat bread and butter. I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's a good sign for society.
No, I think it's good that we are sensible enough to contrast what we watch on screen with what's happening out here in the real world. We're self aware enough to see that, and isn't it? Yeah, the creator of Evangelion, he
Hmm.
made a comment recently in an interview that he's against the idea of turning anime into something that would cater to the global audience. He says that he feels that anime should remain uniquely Japanese. And I bring that up because I feel like what we talked about just now is a reflection of the different eras that Japan is going through and
Yeah.
how it had to adjust to capture audiences from different generations. And I think if you understand what you're watching in the context of where it came from or the intention of the creator or the studio, understand that it's uniquely Japanese, it's uniquely a reflection of what Japanese people are thinking at the moment, the zeitgeist of what's going on, then you sort of, you take that lens into watching something and it answers a lot of questions basically. Like, oh, why are the motivations like that? Or why do they do things? Or why do they care about this? And it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like people from the 80s during the golden era of Japan, obviously they were well to do. Everyone had a
Yeah.
steady job, everybody was making money, and Japan was on the up and up culturally, financially, setting a stage in the world for themselves. And it reflects on the anime that we watch, right? Some of the stuff from the 80s and even the 90s, like Orange Road, like, people were classy. People were
Hopeful.
rich, right?
Yeah, basically.
Now you have time to dive into three-way romances, right? Whereas the newer stuff, like they're just trying to get by, just trying to survive in a world that's cruel. You don't even have money to buy bread and honey, right?
And I think what's really interesting is I have a lot of friends living in Japan, and like they talk like Denji, like they talk like Yuji, like the word choices they use, like their outlook on life. And like it's definitely not, I worry for them. Like I think it's basically just underlying depression.
Right, right.
But like yeah, even Orange Road, like I remember the dad was like, "Okay, we're going to Hokkaido for a weekend. Like, do you want to stay here?" Like, like it's kind of assuming that the audience can relate to like a Hokkaido trip over the weekend.
Right, right, right.
So
Which is
that
like
was really fun.
such a rare treat nowadays, right?
Hmm. And I think
All
even
right.
like the color palette and the music, like I think there are still rom-coms, like anime rom-coms. I don't watch the more recent rom-coms that much, but I think rom-coms will tend to be lighter than the depressive shonen that we're
Oh, for
fed
sure.
nowadays.
Yeah, I mean the Hokkaido trip, the mandatory onsen scene in the earlier animes, it assumes that people had money and time, leisure time to do that.
Yeah, or like going to like the beach. Like if you think about it,
Yeah,
there's no onsen theme or beach trip in Chainsaw
anymore.
Man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
cause,
right.
'cause like nobody has the money to. In fact, it's interesting because the leisure scenes in Chainsaw Man is Aki like chopping tomatoes in the kitchen, and then I saw somebody say that there's so much focus on like house chores, like household chores, because that is
Yeah,
the
that's
only
true.
time that like younger people have to kind of relax and kind of spend their time for
That's
themselves. So
such a
like
good observation. Yeah, and they animate that so well. That's one of the things I realized that things that seem trivial in the older animes, like chopping tomatoes, that's not a big deal. They wouldn't animate that. But then the newer stuff, oh gosh, like just the animation of the knife going into slicing the tomatoes. I'm sure they must have blown like half of the budget for that episode just doing that one scene. But apparently it's important enough that they did it, right? So I think at this point, we have to start wrapping up,
that's
and
true.
we have to talk about why anime matters, at least to you and me, on a personal
Hmm.
level. Like, connecting it all. Yeah, we love watching anime. It's fun. We get insights into it. But I think it wouldn't be a cultural phenomenon like it is if there wasn't something deeper in anime and manga that actually transcends cultures, right? Like it doesn't have to be an exclusively Japanese thing, even though a lot of it is based on Japanese culture. What do you think, Jasmine? Like, what's the power of anime? Like, why is it something that we can't help but be drawn to?
Well, I feel like, even if it's a reflection of Japanese culture, I feel like Japanese people are, still people. So I feel like, as with all work of fiction, like manga and anime is just a reflection of our reality and, the time we're living through, our hardships, our hopes, what brings us joy and happiness. So I think, when you're reading manga and anime, you're really just, watching a narration of someone's take on life, I think.
Right. Which is very resting, in my opinion. Like it
Hmm.
kind of calms my mind when I can watch somebody else go through the motions instead of me having to go through it.
That's true, yeah.
Very relaxing for some reason. Like, oh, same predicament. What would I do? What would Victor
Yeah.
do? But then you're watching a character go through it, and it's like, oh, okay, somebody else is going through it. Good. I can just stand back and be an audience member, I can just watch it and maybe eat a tub of ice cream,
And
while I'm
it's like,
doing that.
yeah, it's nice to live vicariously. Like, you can watch someone date two girls for you, or like harem animes where, a guy has like five or six girls. Like, it's kind of like, I think it's a nice, like, escape fantasy as well, depending on the genre.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's like, you can't drive a robot in real life, so it's kind of like you can watch someone
Mm,
do it on the screen.
yeah. So my conclusion for today is that there's a lot out there for everyone to suit everyone's taste. Whether you're into rom-coms, slice of life, you're into giant robots, whether you're into demon slaying, or you're just purely in it for the art, right, Jasmine? Like,
Yeah,
the animation is amazing a lot of
it's
times.
beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, so there's something out there for everyone. I don't think it's just something to be dismissed. Like a lot of the people who don't like anime just think that it's cartoons, right?
Hmm.
So I would recommend people to just, yeah, go out there, start something. You might not like the first thing that you find, but keep going. You'll find something that will pique your interest.
Absolutely. And if you don't know where to start, you can start by watching Jinro
Great. Or Orange Road.
or Orange Road. Yes, either of the two.
All right, great. So with that, I think I just want to greet you a happy Chinese New Year, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Awesome. See you. Bye.
Bye bye.